Okay, so my name is David. I'm with Ironmen Industries and JobJons Portable Solutions. These are two companies that we have in our own ownership, and both of them are in the manufacturing industry. One is doing more exporting and importing with the U.S. One is more so just importing products in from the U.S. So both of these are definitely right now dwelling a lot on the tariffs and how they would affect us.
Could you talk a little bit about how each of them individually would be affected by tariffs if they were to come down the line?
Well, I think we're all trying to discern exactly how it will affect us. I mean, we took an effort to talk to one of our border agents for the brokerage that we have to handle, and even they said that they are still trying to navigate that, and they didn't have any more answers for us other than what we could see on the government website, which was a long list of products. So everyone is trying to get a handle on it.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, right now we're in a position where we've got some extra grace, and hopefully we don't have to have it happen at all. But it's challenging to know exactly what to do. Obviously, one response is to have more inventory on hand, buying in more product that we could buy at the current pricing, so that we can have more of a period of time where we can keep our pricing where it's at. And but that obviously it's a cash flow, and ultimately goes against the principles of how we'd like to manufacture with lean principles. So it's not a healthy way to go. It's more of a reaction to try to grasp the straws, and ultimately talking to the manufacturers as well. They're in the same boat. They're still not quite sure exactly what impact it will have, how much of their bottom line this will take, and even we're also even just navigating, like, how do you handle all these costs over to your consumer, and while you're going through that thought process of do you pass on these tariffs to the consumer, those costs, at what point does the market no longer bear that, and how much are you needing to eat to try to continue to keep moving in manufacturing? So those are all the questions that you're trying to balance out, and it's obviously a very unprecedented situation that we're dealing with. It's not something that I think any of us have experienced before. So exactly how tariffs always fall out is a bit of a anomaly that will yet to be seen. But I think we're hopeful at this point that the tariffs won't happen. I think we've seen a very positive interaction, but the concern is still on our minds, and I can tell you that talking to a lot of manufacturers, it's a real concern.
You mentioned that you've talked to other manufacturers in the area, because obviously it's a very shared concern. Do you have any clients or suppliers stateside that you've had conversations with as well?
We did have conversations with clients in the U.S. Before the tariffs, and it was interesting that they hadn't thought a lot about it at that point. There has been a reaction almost up till late, where it was, what's the point of dwelling on something you don't know is going to happen, or how it's even going to happen, or even what are the tariffs going to be on, right? So it was a little bit of a reaction of trying to just deal with what we do know. And so, but more as of late, we've had more conversations. Some companies are more international, and for that reason, they can probably avoid some of those tariffs. But some obviously are looking at what kind of spending they're going to do, and maybe alternative places to buy egg. But I think ultimately it affects the U.S. and Canada almost the same. Like, the egg industry relies heavily on the Canadian side to provide egg products. So it's going to hurt everybody if it happens. And it has potential of being long-lasting when you think of the inflationary costs of products going up.
And at this point in the conversations, because we got that 30-day pause going on, discussions are happening, even if the tariffs do not wind up going through, is the fact that the conversation is happening causing Ironmen and JobJons to kind of look at their American partnerships in a different way?
There are different thoughts that go through your mind as to maybe how you could handle or change things to be in a better position, definitely. And I think it's also good to note that there are some good things that are coming about all this as well. There are some things in Canada that we could improve. Just lately, there's been more discussion on why is it that we can trade better with countries outside of our own country than we can interprovincially.
Mm.
And why is it that we are not opening up those gates to make it easier for provinces to trade with each other? So there's some good things that are coming about that way. I think ultimately, in one way, it is shaping us up a little bit. Definitely one thing that I'm hearing a lot about, and this is with other owners and manufacturers, this is a very common theme, and that is ultimately that we feel very much that we need a leadership in this country, a new leadership that thinks about these things, that makes decisions like we do as in a business, make decisions that are good for the bottom line, and how much money is coming in and how much money is going out. Are we do we have a government that looks at that? So there's some good things that are coming about this. I think we're being forced to look at the strength of our country and our provinces. And so, and then ultimately it obviously did that within as well, right? I mean, I think about even just as a Christian, I've had to, I'm going to my Creator and I'm looking for wisdom and guidance as well. And I think it forces us to do those things. And so those are good things about this. But the fact that we don't know what essentially how it will affect us, it's a very uncomfortable place to be.